two important software applications that we're going to use in this hybrid Math 89 course are Blackboard and MyMathLab, and I'd like to take you on a quick tour just to show you some important features of these two programs. So let's go ahead and start with Blackboard. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the site. So it's YCCD Blackboard.com, and you'll see a login screen, and I'm going to sign myself in as a student. Okay, and so you enter your username and password, and these things should have been sent to you in an email if you are a registered student. So let's go ahead and log in here. So I'm going to see courses where I'm a student, and if you're registered for multiple classes that use Blackboard, you'll see a list of different courses. And so this is the class, the Math 89, Spring Math 89, Section 5565, so we'll go in here. And you're going to see here the home screen, which shows us it begins with the banner and announcements. So there's some announcements here, and the first thing that it tells you to do is to begin with the Start Here link. So we're going to go over here to the left and to this link that says Start Here, and I'll click on it. And there's quite a bit of information for you to read here, so I'll let you do that. But you can see there are a number of things, again, to read. There's some links to follow, just to check out the technical requirements. And then when you get done with all of the reading, you need to take this online quiz, and the way that you get into it once you have read the syllabus below is to click on the blue link, which is a hyperlink, and it says here begin the quiz, and so then you can click begin and start taking this quiz. And there is no limit on the number of attempts, and so if you don't get a perfect score and you would like to get a perfect score, you can go back again multiple times, but you do need to complete the quiz by the deadline, and so it tells you the test is due on January 19th by 11:59, so not past midnight of that evening. Once you finish working through the Start Here section, you can actually begin the Week 1 module, which will give us an outline of all the things that we're going to do in the first week of class. So it tells you what you need to do in class and also what you need to do at home. So in class, what we want to do is just on that first day, give you the intro to the course, and including answering any questions that you might have about the syllabus. But then once we send you out of the classroom after that 2-hour session, there's a good amount of lecture material that you're going to need to complete on your own. And so there are a number of things that you are going to do in order to do this. One is to complete the lecture notes. So if you haven't already, you should purchase the course pack for this Math 89 hybrid course at the Pirates Bookstore on West Campus. And in that course pack, there is information which includes empty spaces for you to fill things in. And so it tells you to purchase the course pack, and then in class some of the examples will be presented. So as we go over those examples in class, you'll be filling up your notebook. Now, there's no way that in 2 hours in class that we can complete all of the material, and so you're going to be sent home with an assignment to complete the rest of the examples and see if you can work them out. Now, if you feel that you're able to get most of the answers quickly and easily, you can just do your best to complete the examples and then check with the scanned solutions. And so basically everything that I want you to write in that notebook is written here in these scanned solutions, and they're written in red for contrast, so you can see what you were expected to have completed. And we'll just wait a minute for this PDF to come up. But if you found them to be easy and the examples that you complete, you check them with the solutions and you end up with the correct answer, then you can feel confident that you have mastered whatever material is required. So this is for the review chapter, section 1, and then we go further in section 4 here. And wherever you see these highlighted examples, that usually indicates that there is an accompanying video that will go with that problem. So what we see is, if we go back to the module, so this this set of instructions here, which includes different sections, these are called modules here. So under the scan solutions, there are also lists of videos, and not every single problem has a video, but many of them do. Some of them are videos from other sources, such as Khan Academy. So if you take a look here, you can see that we can pull up a video and it shows the solution for this particular problem, which is written in your notes. And Salman Khan will come on in a second. I'm going to put the volume up. So we've got this video.
We've already looked at several ways of writing linear equations. You could write it in slope-intercept form, or it would be the form of...
And so as you can see, here's a video which will assist you in completing that example if you didn't understand it and you weren't able just to get the solution steps based on what was written in the scan solutions. So again, if you have questions or you didn't understand something, you can go back to the videos for help. And then once you have gone through the lecture material, if you don't need the videos, there's not any reason for you to watch every video. If you find, especially in the review sections, if you find it to be easy, you might as well just go ahead and work through. And again, if you've completed all the examples in the notes, you can feel some confidence that you have touched on the major points for that particular section or chapter. And then what we do is, once you've completed the lecture notes, you're going to get some practice with the homework problems by using MyMathLab. So I'd like to now show you how we're going to get into MyMathLab. So it says here, MyMathLab homework for sections R1 through R5. So I'm going to go into another browser and go to MyMathLab. And I know that many of you have worked through this program before, but we'll go ahead and sign in. And so you should have an account set up. If you don't already, there are instructions that I'll show you in class. And so once you sign in, there will be a list of courses that you are registered for, and you should register for my class, which is the Math 89 Hybrid. And let's find it here. So once you go into the course, the main thing that you're going to be doing in MyMathLab is homework. So I don't assign quizzes and tests through MyMathLab, but under homework here, it tells you your upcoming assignments, and it's got the assignments here for the first 5 sections. So this is the first week's homework listed. And so you can go ahead and click into that section, and it's got the various questions here. So you go ahead and start with question 1, and it'll ask you whatever the question is. So when we take a look at this problem, it asks you to use a greater than symbol or a less than symbol to make the statement true. And in this case, when we're looking at negative numbers, the ones that have the greater magnitude are actually the smaller numbers. The smaller, the greater the amount of a negative, the further to the left it is. If you imagine a number line, negative 14.3 would be here, negative 12 would be a little further up. And so I'm going to put this symbol here. And I can do my final check. Now, if I were having trouble with this problem, I can use the resources, help me solve this, view an example textbook, or if I wanted to print it out and bring it to class or bring it to a tutor, I would be able to use those tools. And so let's go ahead and do our final check on it. I got the right answer. It says I did a good job. And so now I'm going to save this. And if you take a look at the homework problems, now I have completed the first problem. And so you'll be working your way through the homework questions one by one in this way. Once you've completed them, you will have completed that assignment. And the problems, you have multiple attempts. There is no limit on the number of attempts, and so if you want to go back and get 100%, you may go ahead and redo problems. However, it says 30% is deducted from questions completed after the due date, and so if you submit problems late, the problems you do on time are not penalized, but the ones that you do late are penalized. So that's what MyMathLab looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out here. But I want to go back to Blackboard and take a look at the module, because here we've got a discussion. Now, sometimes you run into problems with homework, and even with all of the helps, show me a hint, show me a similar example, you still are not able to do the problems, and so you want to ask a classmate to assist you. And so you can go ahead and then click here, and you are able to add a thread. So where it says create thread, you click on that, and then you can add a thread which will ask the particular question. And in the subject line, so when we create this thread, it'll ask you for a number of things here. For subject, what I recommend is that you put the section number and perhaps the problem. So suppose that I've got a question on section R6, and then example J. I put that there in the subject so people know where that's coming from, and you can perhaps even put that it comes from, say, the notes. And if it had come from MyMathLab, you might indicate that as well. And then if you then want to type in the question, what I want to do is not just put the section number and the example, but I actually want to show the question itself. So I'm going to make my request and say I'm having trouble with, and then I'm going to type out the problem. Now, this is actually a fractional problem, and if I were to try to type this as a fraction, so for example, if I have 5 here slash x minus 1, that's really hard to read. And so what I want to do is make it much more aesthetic, easy to read, and there's a really neat trick that I can use which is embedded in Blackboard. But in order to find it, I need to expand the list of options. And so now I've clicked on this arrow here which shows more or shows less, and so I want to show more, and the tool that I want to use is this f of x. So f of x allows me to write text in math-friendly format. And you can see over here I have a number of different things. I've got this fraction. I've got a slanted fraction, but what I really want is to show this not as a slanted fraction, but as a separated numerator and denominator. So I'm going to put over here, I have 5 in the numerator divided by x minus 1. And then, so now I have a nice looking fraction, and I'm going to type is equal to, and then another fraction. So the second numerator is 3, and I'm going to divide that by x plus 3. And now we will accept that. And as you can see, it structures this fraction in a much more readable format than if I were just typing it out as a one-line character. By being able to make numerator and denominator fractions, I can, again, make it much more readable. There were other functions in there, such as square roots and so on, so you can play around with some of those tools inside the f of x. Again, if we take a look, there are a lot of different things. You can have parentheses, subscripts for making squares or higher powers, and so on. So I showed my problem here, and then what I can do is ask a very specific question. How do I get rid of the denominators? And then go ahead. When you want to post your question, you'll go ahead and submit. This time I'm actually going to cancel because I don't want this to be a permanent question in the discussion. But for you, if you want to have it visible to your classmates, then you can go ahead and submit it, and then they'll be able to read it and respond to it. If you participate in discussions, you will be given a score between 0 and 10, and If the scores are low, it won't hurt you, but if you have good scores, they will replace your 3 lowest quiz scores. So let's go back to the module and take a look at the very last thing that we see here. And the very last thing is a preview for the following week. If you have time, I would encourage you to take a look at the notes, again in the course pack, and work through whatever examples that you can for these sections, so that when you come into class on Tuesdays, then we will go over some of the lecture examples quickly. There will be some that we skip around in, but you'll have more of a framework for understanding whatever it is that we cover in class. If you don't have time to get it, you can always follow up afterwards, but I think that if you preview the work, you'll find that what you see in the 2-hour class period is going to be much more meaningful to you as we go through it.